welcome to the Harris Show. I'm your host, Jamal Radio Raheem Harris, and I'm with my sister and co-host, Miss Angie Ang. And we are joined by two guests. We're joined by my girlfriend, Aysha Jones, and we're joined by Celeste. So this episode, we're going to talk about mental health. So this is going to be a little deep one. My sister has the questions. She's going to ask the questions, and we'll just answer and see where it goes from there. Take it away.
All right. So first question, what are some things you knew growing up about mental health?
Whoever, y'all can go ahead. Y'all the guests. Y'all go ahead.
You want me to go first or you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Honestly, I didn't know too much. Mm-hmm. It was kind of a taboo topic. I don't even know if we really knew too much about it in my household, but I started to learn more about it. I think I was about 17 or 18. My mom had anxiety since she was about 23, but she never really knew what it was. And so I knew that she had different feelings. I just more so thought she was always mad and didn't want to be bothered. And so I'm like, what is that? And when I got to about 17 or 18, we found out she had a panic disorder. And so everything started to make sense from there. So I didn't know too much about the specifics, but I knew there was something different. I just wasn't too sure.
Yeah. In my household, we grew up a lot. We learned about like mental health and stuff, but they didn't ever apply it to our home, which I always thought was interesting. I have had depression since I was like 12. But it wasn't diagnosed until I was an adult, because when I was 13 and was like, hey, I think I'm what you guys are talking to me about. You guys keep telling me about depression. I think I have it. My family was kind of like, no, you're just angsty. That's just hormones. So it wasn't taboo. I think it was just, we kind of thought it could be anybody but us. And I hated that. So I took it upon myself to learn more because I knew I was feeling differently and needed help with it. But yeah.
And like you're 13, so that's around the age when, teenagers are just doing the most. So they probably were just like,
they just thought, they were like, oh, she's just angsty. Yeah. And then I stayed angry for like 5 years, and they were like, that's just her personality. She just has like, she's just sassy and sarcastic. And it's like, no, I'm very upset with life. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Maybe. But yeah.
It wasn't talked about in our house at all. Like, oh yeah, you can speak to it. Nobody like talked about it. And clearly in my family too, you can tell there's people who are, now that I know the stuff, you can tell there's people going through stuff that nothing happened. Like, I don't want to name no names, but there's some people in my family that clearly have an issue, and everybody just acts like it's nothing. And like, people know there's a problem, they just won't address it. Like, they'll just be like, he'll get through it, or she'll get through it. Just move past it, thug it out. Like,
yeah, it's always just like, oh, they're crazy. We don't, not we, but like they don't really dive too much into it. It's like, oh, they're just crazy. Just ignore it. It's whatever. But yeah, growing up, mental health. What is that? Like, what?
Like, if we would have told our parents, like, we would have been like, oh, we're sad. They would have just been like, what happened? They wouldn't have thought like there's something wrong with me, like mentally wrong with me.
But like, I was thinking though, like they couldn't really know, because like, who taught them? Their parents didn't teach them that. So it's not like this was something they knew about. This isn't, you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't blame like my family. They just weren't educated on the issue.
We also have the advantage over older generations. Like, we have research, we have education, we have all that like when parents have you at like 18, 19 years old,
exactly,
they ain't got time to like figure out what happened to them and, oh, this happened in my life, I need to get help. They don't have time for that. So I understand it just was never talked about. It's kind of,
Our minds are way open too, because I know, especially for my parents, like you said, I won't blame them for anything, but I feel like there is a point where you have to take a look and be like, okay, I should probably open my mind a little bit more and try to figure out if I should keep this way of thinking or if my parents were correct, because things always change. Like you guys said, it's a whole new generation. We have so many other things going on. So it totally makes sense for them to at least take that step of trying to understand or open their mind to that. And on that topic too, you guys talking about it made me think, when I was in, I think kindergarten or first grade, my parents told me that my teachers wanted to hold me back because they told me I wasn't learning at the same pace as everybody else in my class. They thought that I had ADHD, or they tried to tell me that I had a learning disability. And my parents were like, no, she's fine. More so my dad. No, she's fine. Let her go. And I struggled in school a lot. Like, it was very hard for me. I knew that there was something that I knew I had to learn differently. Like, me and Aysha, we went to school together, and I would always be in the tutor, like, I need extra help. I don't know why, but I need extra help. And now it makes sense. It makes sense that probably should have been looked at then. It probably wouldn't have been so hard for me, but I made my way through. It's just, I think that's one of the things that we have to pay attention to for sure, especially if your child is telling you, like you said, Aysha, I feel different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's woo. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know we were getting this deep on the first question.
Hey, I'm ready.
Okay, we getting in there. All right. So my second question is, why do y'all think mental health isn't talked about as much, especially with Black men? Jamal, you should go first. Go ahead.
I'm the only Black man in here.
Go ahead and take it off.
I don't think it's just Black men. I think it's just men in general. But because when something happens or you're feeling down, like when you tell people attack it. Not like people make you feel like you're weak or something like that. Now, personally, I don't care what people think, but like, I'm obviously different than 18-year-old me. Like, 18-year-old me would have held everything in. Now, like, I don't care. You're going to know exactly. Like, I don't care about crying in front of nobody because
that's good.
That don't. I'm like, I'll cry and then we can fight after. It don't matter. I don't.
Okay.
But like, for instance, say that something like I'm feeling down, and I tell like some of my friends, they would just clown you. They not thinking that it's so serious. Like, they just gonna clown you. And like, guys, we're like taught to hold stuff in and not express those things. Like, we can't even be hurt. Like, we couldn't be hurt. Our parents, they couldn't be hurt. You gotta think, people who are like 40, 50 years old, like, they were told not to cry when they're hurt. They're told to hold everything in. We got the benefit. Like, I'm gonna keep saying that we have the benefit knowing, but like, that's probably why it's hard. Like, Dad didn't talk to me about how to showcase my emotions or how to do stuff. Like, and then he obviously wasn't taught it, and that happened for years and years and years. So it's up to us to be able to talk about it now. But like, so that's probably why we're always taught, like, don't cry, don't do this. If you're depressed, like, thug it out, tough it out, get out of it, like, I went years without crying. Like, that is like,
that's insane.
I went years without crying. And I know, obviously, there's some shit that's probably worth crying over. But I went years without crying because I don't want to hear what people think, and that ain't good for you at all. Like, I don't know. I can't speak for all Black men. I can just speak
I know. It's just your perspective.
I obviously know that it wasn't taught. So that's why it was not easy for us. Even some of my friends, like, it wasn't taught. Like, and then my friends who were taught that, they seem to have a better, like, emotional intelligence than I have. So
that's interesting.
I mean, I'm not a Black man, but
that's a question for y'all to answer.
from my experiences growing up, my observation was that it was harder to confront. Like, there's certain emotions that are very surface and really easy to confront, like anger. Even just like sad. Like, sad's a super easy emotion to be like, I'm sad, but like that's not really what you're feeling. So like, now as an adult, I can have like conversations with like the men in my family about like our emotions, about depression. One of the first actual acknowledgments of my depression was from my dad, and it was because he was finally able to acknowledge his own seasonal depression. And once he was able to acknowledge that, he could see the signs everywhere else. But I think if you're growing up in an environment that refuses to acknowledge these issues, like, it's gonna be very hard for you to confront them. It's gonna be very hard because you're going against the norm in that situation. And I think with adults, period, I think especially our adults, like parents and stuff, they, like we said, didn't grow up in the same kind of environment where mental health was talked about the same way. So like, some of them now are starting to discover like mental health and like take that journey at like 40, 50, 60. But that's still like a really hard journey to access. I will say that when I was in my first psychology class, I remember the stat that men were more likely to commit suicide, and especially older men. And that really hit me because I was like very surprised based off of the way that depression is portrayed in like media and just like what we grow up hearing. It's very, I guess, like feminized, but it definitely is affecting our men in ways that like just aren't what we categorize as depression. I think what we categorize as depression is like, you're sad and you're sitting at home, versus it's anger, it's frustration, it's quick, it can be very, very present in ways that we don't see it very often, and so it goes ignored, especially in men.
That was good.
Right.
Both of you guys. yes, snaps.
I'm coming with it.
Right. I'd say too, because I'm not a man, my observation is my little brother. There's 5 girls. So my parents have 2 separate children. 3 separate children outside of the ones that they have together. And the last one was a boy. And so, like, it's been interesting to watch because my dad definitely treats us differently than him. And I have been getting on him a lot lately, especially like ever since I graduated from school, because like you said, I learned a lot in my classes as well. And the feminine and masculine roles and what's seen as okay. And I tell my dad a lot, like, he doesn't have to shy away from the feminine role. You know, he can cry, he can express his feelings. That is very healthy. And I think they have a hard time of the protector role. And a lot of people feel like when you protect your household that you have to have this certain type of characteristic, very strong, no emotion, you can't be vulnerable. And I feel like most times that is the protection, is showing the vulnerability, you know, so that you know how to go about life. But it's interesting to see my dad in his later years, because he says, you know, when you start to have kids, you can actually see who you are as a person. And I feel like we have kind of broken him down a bit so that he can see, like, okay, maybe I don't have to be so hardcore. And it's crazy because I've been seeing him cry a lot more lately. And just be very expressive. So I think as a man, I think, you know how they say men don't mature until about 40? I think I think that's when you guys really start to pay attention, like, okay, this isn't right. This isn't how I feel. It's okay to be like this, you know? I think that's more so what it is. It's like thinking, not really knowing what people want from you. Like you said, Aysha, like confronting it is, what do people want from me? Is this socially acceptable? So yeah, that's hard.
I'm gonna add on. So another thing too is like, I'm gonna just speak for me personally. There's been instances when I've been vulnerable, and then somebody took advantage of that.
Yes.
That also plays into like I'm like, all right, see, this is why I don't show emotion. This is why I don't blah blah. So when you give like somebody that, and then they immediately take advantage of that, or they get mad at you and they throw it back in your face, that plays a part as well. Like there's been instances of people I know. I want to say names, so I gotta stop myself a couple. So, but there's been people I know who have literally used that against somebody, and I've been sitting there. So now all their business is out, and they just broke this person down, and now this person's already, who was already sad, is like the person they trusted just broke that. So now they're going into these like suicidal thoughts and all that type of stuff. So that's another thing that plays a part. And I don't think that's just Black men. I think it's extremely high in Black men because of everything else as well that they gotta deal with. We gotta deal with. I'm acting like I'm not a Black man. The other factors that come into that, and then stuff like that's going on, like in the world with like people getting killed and stuff, and add that on, it's a lot. It is a lot to deal with. So.
All right. Well, that kind of leads into my next question. How much does social media contribute to your mental health, whether it's positive or negative?
You want to take that? I'll take it. Fuck it. I talk a lot. That's why I'm trying to let y'all like. But social media, I hate social media for many different reasons, but I hate it because of what it does to people's mental health and what it, like, I personally know that like some people on there are just flashy and showing stuff that they ain't got, like, because I know them, but I also know that like social media could like get to you. Like I look at somebody's page and I'm like, damn, man, their podcast got 18 million followers. And I'm like, man, why we ain't there? Like, why we ain't there yet? Like, so that can get to you for sure. But there's some positives that come from it. Like the news, you learn stuff on social media before the news get it. So there's positives, but it definitely can drain you. I can imagine how it would be for women because you be seeing some stuff on there. I just be like, oh my gosh. Like y'all gotta see some stuff on there. I'm like, Jesus, I would have to get like surgery every week, like trying to compete.
You just gotta be real secure.
I'd be like,
in your presence.
Like, so I think it's easier for a dude. The thing that social media does, it kind of drains you though, especially this year with everything that's going on. Mm-hmm. It will drain you and make you feel sad and make you feel like you're not doing nothing if you don't have self-esteem. It can lower that for sure. If you don't feel like you're not nothing, you go on social media, you're gonna feel it even worse. Like if you're having a bad day, I don't think you should go on social media. That's what I recommend. But
for me, it's opposite. If I'm having a bad day, I know I can go on Twitter and laugh. You know, so it kind of just works hand in hand. But I know the days when to stay off of social media when a big tragic incident happens. That's when I'm like, okay, let me take a break because all I'm going to see is just death, sad. But for me, social media makes me happier. Like I don't know how I'd be without Twitter. Like Twitter makes me feel connected in a way where I don't think I would be able to feel connected like in the real world, I guess we could say. But for me, social media has helped my mental health. But yeah, I know the days to stay away for sure.
I can agree. I love it, and I love it and I hate it. I love it because, especially having a business, you can reach out to people all over the world. Yeah. Like I just started my juice smoothie business, CMOS, and CMOS is very popular right now. So I've been selling to people locally in Stockton, and the people that I sell to, they post it, and it brings so much attention to me. And then I have people in other states trying to buy from me. So I'm like, it was so much harder back then when social media wasn't around, because you had to do everything word of mouth. You had to travel different places to try to push your message, who you are, your brand. So it would be very hard. Like, shout out to everybody who started everything they do before it, because it's hard. It's even harder with social media, but I think it's a really good way to just connect. Like you said, you just have to know who to follow. I think that's what it is too. Like, if you're following people that are going to bring your energy down, that's what's going to happen every time you look at your news feed. Don't look at the explore page, because they could put whatever on there. Just stay on what you want to stay on. Just like in real life, if I want to hang around this circle to feel this way, I'm going to do that. I'm not going to extend my energy over that way if I know it's going to affect me negatively. So I think, it's just how you work it, kind of.
Absolutely, I agree. I mute so many people and I block so many people. Just people who I don't even follow, just because I don't want them to show up on my timeline. On Twitter, I'll see one person, somebody I follow, like some dumb comment, so I'll block the person that made that comment and I'll unfollow the person who liked it, because I'm not trying to have that energy around. Usually it's people who are like sexist or colorist. We're just saying some ignorant stuff. I don't really need it. Twitter I use to laugh, so I block. Oh, that list is long. On Instagram, I just don't really follow a lot of people who make me feel bad or insecure. I used to follow like a lot of celebrities and stuff, but I unfollowed a majority of them because I just didn't care anymore about their stuff. And then I just blocked the Shade Room. And the reason I did that was because I was getting like addicted to like looking at the drama, and it never makes me feel good. It made me feel bad. It upset me and it irritated me that these people, like, it's good because it's like, cool, I'm up to date on everything, but it's horrible because it's like, y'all are using this information to like get people to say ignorant things and just be ugly in the comments, and it's just never positive. So I just blocked the Shade Room, and I unblocked for a day, and then I blocked them again because of all the dumb Tory Lane stuff. So I was like, I gotta get off.
Oh yeah.
I can't do it no more.
The thing with Shade Room though, this is why I can't fault them. Okay. They don't force the people to say what they say.
Yes, they do.
They
okay,
look. It. You cannot control what people say.
Yes, you can. You want to know how you can? Here's what you say. You post a picture of what's Dwayne Wade's daughter, Zaya Wade or whatever. You post a picture of her, and then you say thoughts. What do you think that's gonna do?
Yeah, okay.
What do you
think
fair. That's fair. That's fair. They're purposely inciting drama. They do it on purpose.
Yeah.
Well, it's called.
They want homophobes. They want sexist. They want all that.
It's the Shade Room.
That's true. I didn't think of it that way, but that's a good point. But I keep Shade Room around because that's where I get all the podcast topics and stuff.
That's why
it's hard.
Social media is harder. It's harder when you're trying to find, because listen, 2020 is shitty. They throw it all away, right? So you have to navigate the social media trying to find a good topic, because we recorded an episode, was it yesterday or Monday? That we're not going to release because I went through the news and I was like, damn, everything is bad. And it just seemed like I was just attacking. I was like, we can't release that episode. Like, if one person sees it, it's going to be bad. Like, so I was like,
even in the Shade Room.
Like, you can't go on, if you're going on social media, if you're trying to do like a podcast, unless you're going to talk about your life and everything that's going on, you can't really navigate social media and avoid negativity. That's the problem. Because I hate social media. Like, I'm only on Instagram to post that we did an episode, and I'll look at a couple people's stories, and then I'm off. Like, I don't like social media because I know a whole bunch of people who are living fake. It's too fake. Like, nobody ever posts that they're sad. Nobody's going to post that, like, oh, I lost my job or whatever. You're only going to post the good things. So that's why I don't really like, if it was more real.
I was going to say, I
posted, but I don't post that stuff on my Insta. I post it on my Twitter. I'll be like, my coworker pissed me off today. Yeah. Well, I got fired. Like, it's, fun stuff.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, that wasn't fun. But yeah, so that's why I don't do social media. I'm like the type, I will argue somebody like if they say something stupid, and especially if you mention like my brother or my sisters, like I'm going, even if like I don't even get along that well with my older brother, but like if you say something on there, now I gotta clap back. Like that's why I don't need it. Like I'll argue you until like I win, basically. I'll stay up till 2:00 in the morning arguing with somebody.
Yeah, that's a problem.
If I need to get my point across, it's not good for me. It's unhealthy.
Yeah, it's important to be transparent on there. I try to stay as transparent as possible because I feel like with my brand, that's what it is. It's like, it's called keep the momentum, right? You have to talk about the lows in order to feel the highs. So it's hard to talk about the bads. I won't even say bad, the lows sometimes, because like we talked about with Black men, it's hard for you guys to express. But I feel like as a Black woman too, it's kind of hard for me to express the lows too, because people will just see it as me complaining, you know what I'm saying? Or I think it's more so just I'm complaining. I'm not, I don't know. I think that's more so what it is for me. Like, I don't want to be seen as weak. And so sometimes it is better to just post like, well, here's something nice today to brighten you guys' day, even if I'm not feeling that way. But I think it is important for people to see all sides.
I never even thought about it. But yeah. I still hate it. But
I feel you though. I feel you.
But you know what it is? I don't like the fakeness of it. Like everybody's doing good. Everybody has $1 million. Everybody's just doing good, right? Somebody will post something, and I just want to be like, you literally just asked me for $5. Like I just want to do it. Like,
oh my God, seriously.
I just want to do it, and I'm like, man, I hate this. Like, I hate that I have to make it seem like, you know, you're doing like the best or you're just top rapper that nobody's ever heard. We don't know you at all. Like, but I got to act like you're doing good and you're my family or something or a friend. So I have to like it. And, you know, because I can't be that person. I hate all that. Like, I hate it.
You're speaking it into existence.
I don't like it.
Manifest.
Right. No, I feel you though. You're just real. You just real.
I need it to be, if it was like more people who are like, you got to go through this to get through this. That's what I'm for. Like, I'm all for that. But the people who are like,
it's there, you just got to find it.
Bam.
But also, don't you think it's like, okay, I think part of the reason you don't see so much negativity is because that's not a natural thing that we want to share. Right. Like in our moments when we feel the most vulnerable, we feel the most private. So like obviously when we're at our happiest or whatever, that's when you want to take a photo. That's when you want to do like a video of you dancing and having fun, because those are like natural emotions that we're like programmed to share already.
Yeah.
Emotions like sadness and anger and like, oh, shame, all those things, we are taught to hide those. So like it makes sense that those wouldn't be the things that you're seeing. I also agree. I hate people who are like trying to fake flex. Like that's dumb. But I think that there is, you know, there's a reason that so many people are quick to post the happy highs and not the lows. And it's because that's just natural. It goes hand in hand with the way we emote.
Yeah.
I think that the problem that I really have is because of that, like people who are sad, you know, all they're seeing is everybody doing so well and doing this. There's nobody who's telling them that like it's okay, like you'll get through this, because all they're seeing.
There is though.
That's very. There is. There's no celebrity or anybody who's like an influencer who's doing that. That's the thing. Like if you tell me like, oh Jamal, it's okay, like you're my sister, I don't give a damn. No offense. I don't care what you're saying. Like, you know, like if Jay-Z tells me, yo, you're gonna get through this, I went through this, that might hit me different. And there's no celebrity who's making you feel like they're just showing off what they got. And that's the thing. I don't like seeing that.
I don't agree.
I feel like there are some. I feel like there are some. And it's hard. It's hard too. Like, I mean, being a celebrity comes with a lot. You know, you have to tend to everybody.
Especially a Black celebrity.
You have so many responsibilities. You have yourself, your family, the social media, when you walk outside, you got to take pictures with people. You got to sign autographs. You got to do so much. So it's like, I think a lot of them are doing a good job by the text message. You can send them text messages now and they'll send you personal text messages. I think that's dope. You know, I feel like, yeah, there's a lot of people who have, one person in particular, Ryan Leslie, he has one. You just get the text message, the number, send him a text, and he tries to reach out to every single person that texts him.
He's been vulnerable though. Like I follow a lot of music, but Ryan Leslie has literally been on stage crying, talking about his laptop got stolen. And he had all the files on. That's real. That's more relatable.
Yeah.
But you don't see that often. And Ryan Leslie is not like super huge. Like if you don't listen to a lot of music or know music, you're probably not gonna know Ryan Leslie, even though he probably wrote your favorite artist's song. Like you're not gonna know that. So I get it. I understand why it's important and it's cool. I just hate it. I'll never.
All good.
Understandable. All right. Why do y'all think therapy is looked at as a bad thing in the black community? We're just focusing on the black community. But I do, before y'all answer, I do want to say I do realize that now, like our generation, the younger generation is more open to therapy. But so I'm gonna change it to, why do you think the older generation looks at therapy as a bad thing?
I think part of it is because it's very hard. It's hard to admit when you need help. It's hard to admit that some things are out of your control. I think for a long time, therapy was looked at as soft, like an unnecessary thing that rich white people did when they just felt a little sad because they couldn't handle life. And I think a lot of our culture is built on us being stronger and more resilient, and we can handle anything that's thrown at us. And while I agree with it, it doesn't necessarily mean that we do that the healthiest way. And so I think that there's a multitude of like reasons, and they all kind of equaled out to therapy isn't for us. I'm sure there was reasons that it was marketed as softer and like, oh, we didn't need it. I'm sure that it was looked at as super negative because the only people in our community who probably did get therapy were, you know, probably people who had to go to like institutions and things like that. So if the only people you're seeing in your community are at the extremes of it, then you're probably not going to think that you're going to need it if you're at a very low, you know, level of need. And I don't know, I really think part of it comes down to, well, the past, I think it wasn't shown to be for us. I think currently, even though it's more acceptable, I still think it's something that's not utilized as much as it could be. And I think that's because it's a lot of work and people don't think it works because we want quick fixes. I don't think that's just gratification. I think that's like anybody. People go to therapy and think 2 sessions is going to be enough. 4 sessions is going to be enough, and we're going to get to the root of my problems and it's going to be done. Also, people go too late. They go when it's like, I'm like on the verge of like, I'm done, versus when you first start to realize like, I need a little bit of help. They go way, 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 way after when you're like 2 days from killing yourself. And it's like, it's not going to work that way. It's not going to work that well if you're waiting till it's like at its hardest. But that's when people go. So that's why I think.
I just feel like you want to say something.
I want to say something, but so I think because she changed the question up, so I had to like.
My bad.
No, I think that's good.
If you see me keep looking over here, I'm like, all right, this question, like, I know how she's doing it. I figured out a kind of pattern she's going in, but I think we kind of are not looking at that they probably couldn't afford therapy, and therapy also wasn't as available as it is now. Like we have, literally, I can talk to a therapist online. If I can schedule it, do all that online. It wasn't as available as it is now. And there's also I don't know why there's this thing as like keep everything in house, everything in the community. Like don't talk about it, just like keep it in the house. Cause like that's something that you see that all the time in Black, like older Black people especially, like keep it in the house, don't let nobody know, and then they be fucked up. Like they be fucked up because of it. So I don't know. But I know it wasn't available like it is now.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm done.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, I think so too. The availability, and I also feel like then families were more so like a social construct. Like you have kids at what, 15, 16, get married. You have about 10 kids. I'm talking about my grandparents' generation, right? And by the time your kids are grown, you're old. And it's like, well, it is what it is now. Then your kids grow up, they see how you did things, and now they're doing it the same way. And I feel like it's just been sort of a ladder. Like we think that we're supposed to, the American dream, have a family and a house and all this stuff. And it's more so like, this is what I have to do. So you think that life is just going to happen this way because this is the type of life you want to live. And you know that you're going to be depressed and things like that. But like you said, you don't think maybe I should talk to somebody about this because maybe I shouldn't have to feel like that, or maybe I don't have to live my life this way. So I think it's more so then, because especially I'm thinking of my parents too. I'm very fortunate, to go back to your first question, I'm very fortunate that my parents are very open-minded, and we have therapy sessions as a family sometimes, and we all sit down in a circle and talk, They never did that. They never did that. I don't even think my mom and her parents ever talked because they were so wrapped up in their own lives. So I think that's another thing too, is we don't realize how much our parents have going on, that it affects us, and we don't realize how much it affects us, and we think it's okay. I really just think we think it's okay. Like that's just what it is. But things are changing. I think it's great, because even for me, I had Medi-Cal, and I had a therapist through Medi-Cal. So like you said, it really is that easy now to just go and get therapy. But like Aysha said, the instant gratification is the part that is hurting us, because I seen a therapist for, I think 2 weeks, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And on top of that, he kind of made me feel different as well. I think that's another thing too, is they kind of tell you, oh, it's all psychological. You're making yourself feel that way. So whatever you're feeling is not really real. And I think it's the fear of that too, because I know what I feel is real. Just help me, help me figure it out. So I think it's a lot of fear and a lot of, okay, this is just what it is.
I'll also say like okay, we only had our grandma, but like most people, they have like their family, and the same stuff keeps happening. They don't know that something's wrong. Like if your grandma, this is gonna be a bad example. It's gonna be a fucked up one. Say like abuse is regular. Your grandpa beat your grandma, and that's what you see as a kid. Then somebody do that to you, you're gonna think all that's normal. Somebody got to tell you that it's not normal. Somebody got to tell you that it's wrong. Otherwise, you just think, oh, it's supposed to happen like that. He's supposed to do this. She's supposed to do this. We got a package that just got delivered. Oh, God damn it. Yeah, we're right here. We're good.
It's like, it's mine.
But, yeah, so that stuff. Yeah.
Damn, they knocking hard as hell.
Hell yeah, y'all heard that?
Yes.
He ring the doorbell too. He just knocking on the glass. What the hell?
Sound like he threw it at it.
But I lost what I was gonna say because of him. He looked at me. This is the thing. He looked right at me. We made eye contact. I gave him the and he still did it. Who does that? But okay, let me go back. So if it's normal to them to like see stuff, they don't have nobody telling them it's wrong, then it's kind of hard to expect them to go to therapy when they think everything is right. Like, there's nothing wrong. Like, this is normal. My mama went through this. Her mama went through this. So they don't know.
Yep.
Plus, you can have a bad therapist. They could be innocent.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, they can turn you off of the whole experience.
Yeah.
I've heard stories like
3 in my lifetime. 2 of them I liked, and 1 of them almost made me stop going. And I've been like for therapy my entire life. And no, I've had 2 horrible ones. One when I was really young. She told me that I was telling her about my parents' divorce, and she told me that I shouldn't be complaining because there are kids at my school who had real problems.
Whew.
I said, what? Yeah, I was like 12, but I was like, I don't feel like you're supposed to say that to me. Like, that's pretty crazy to say.
Yeah.
And then one, when I was at school with Celeste, they had a free program. And my first semester, I loved my therapist. He was awesome. But my second semester, I had to get a new one. And he was based more, less in like conversation and more in like how your depression or anxiety presented itself on your body and like physical beings, like just basically more physical manifestations of your mental health and like how it affected your body. And I didn't really like that way of doing things because that's not, like, I wasn't anxious to the point where it's like, okay, it's showing on me. I was very much in my own head and needed somebody to talk to. So that one, he almost made me stop going completely because I would be like, hey, this isn't the way that I need to get through these things. I want to talk about my childhood. And you're like telling me to breathe and count to 10.
Yeah, and that's in their curriculum. Like, they're supposed to know how to deal with different types of people. You know,
well, they have different like concentrations.
That's true.
So him, I think that was his way of doing it. And I'm sure it was good for somebody else. Like, I know I can think of 5 people in my personal life who would probably benefit from his way of therapy. But for me personally, it wasn't.
There also needs to be more, I know it's a question, but there needs to be more Black people. Like me personally, I can't have a therapist who's white because they can't tell me how it is to be, like, my issues that I normally have has to do with race. Usually there's something that happened to me because I'm Black, or something in my life that's happened usually because I'm Black or where I grew up. I can't have somebody who grew up in Beverly Hills try to like explain to me like, no, you don't understand. Like, you can never understand what it is to be Black. You can never understand what it means to grow up in this neighborhood. Like, so I need somebody who kind of came from that type of thing. And I don't know if we have that yet. I know we're making strides. I don't know if we have enough people to help. Like, granted, I can pay for it. Well, when I was working, I can pay for it. But like, I don't know if somebody who lives in Section 8 can pay for that. Like, I don't know if they can pay for the right therapist. I know they can get somebody that the government could appoint them, but I don't know if we can get somebody that's right for them.
I'm gonna do it.
So
give me a couple more years, and I'm gonna give them that access.
You gonna give them a discount?
Sure.
I love it.
I want to do a nonprofit for it, but we'll see.
Do it.
I got to get through these grad school applications first.
I just started looking into some programs soon.
And I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say too. My sister, she does a healing circle, and I think that's important too because I feel like school is great. School's great. Degrees are great. So are certifications. But I feel like we know each other enough to where we can. My little sister is saying no to school, but you know that's her. But we know each other and each other's circumstances and our struggles enough to be able to help each other without a degree, you know? And I think that you guys putting on nonprofits or healing circles would be amazing, you know, just to talk. You don't even have to tell me you don't have to tell me, oh, you should do step A through Z and this should help you out. No, just sit and listen, let me talk. Give me some of your life experiences because like you said, that's what they're lacking. A lot of therapists are lacking life experience.
Yeah.
They don't have it. So it's like, you can't sit here and tell me that I'm going to be okay because you don't know.
Yeah.
So if you guys did put that together, I think it would be dope. And I think what you have right now is enough.
I would say that I'm gonna say, I work in education, so, but the degrees and all that shit don't mean nothing. They just are something you need for people to be like, oh, you went to school, you did this, you got this, so you should be able to talk about it. Because truthfully, somebody who is 25, fresh out of school, and they got their master's degree, they not gonna know as much as somebody who's fucking 50 and they've been doing this their whole life, working in the community. Somebody who works in the community knows more. But you know what they don't have? They don't have that paperwork that they say we need to be able to talk about this. Because truthfully, the people who gave me the best advice don't even have degrees, don't even have high school diplomas.
Don't have nothing.
It doesn't matter. The paperwork is just bullshit. But since I work in education, I have to give this little, like, you know, feel. Like, I hated it when I worked at Maricosta. I had to tell people, like, hey, you need to do this and do that. And truthfully, I wanted to be like, you don't need to be in school. What you want to do, you don't need this degree. You don't need this paperwork. You don't need to take all this money out. Like, you don't need to stress yourself out of this history class that you don't give two shits about. Like, what you want to do, you can do without school. But I can't tell people that, or I get fired. So it's just school. School is a business like no other.
Yeah.
And if you hear how some of these people talk, you will understand how you will be like, damn, why am I in school? It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. You gotta get that degree.
Do it, girl. I feel it. I feel it either way.
I ain't going back. I be looking into it and I just be thinking about, man, do I really want to sit in class and listen to somebody tell me what to do so I can hopefully find a job just to make $3 more than him?
Yeah. Something that I can get off on YouTube for free.
Especially like in sociology, we're going off track, but I don't care. Sociology, like anytime I have a white professor, I'm like, what can you tell me about society, sir?
Oh, I just saw a meme about that. I gotta
sir, what can you tell me? Because I've been black my whole life. I know exactly what the struggles are. What you gonna tell me? You gonna find a term that's gonna define what I'm telling you? Like sociology, I got a degree in sociology and I didn't learn a thing because all I was just writing papers like, oh, this is what that means. Oh, okay, that's conflict theory. Oh, okay, I went through this. I can just give an experience that I went through, make a paper out of it. It's really easy. Like, granted, I probably shouldn't be saying any of this, but sociology and some courses is just pointless. It's just pointless. Like, and you have a whole bunch of people teaching it who don't know anything about it. Like, don't have the experience to teach it. Unless it's like science and math. All the other subjects, psychology, sociology, even art. Like art, you have somebody who's telling you that the European art is better than the African art. Like you can't tell.
Thought about that.
You can't tell how you telling somebody that their culture is less than because you can't relate to it. And a lot of art teachers are doing shit like that. But
go ahead. They spelled it up incorrectly. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Angie Ang.
I don't know where to go with that.
I was about to go on a little rant, and I was thinking the whole time. I'm like, nah, Jamal, you going back to work pretty soon. You can
speak your truth.
You can't whoop this get
okay. What techniques do you guys use when you're, feeling a little off? When you're mentally right?
I talk. I talk about it. I've been realizing how important it is for me to, when I have those thoughts, like, because I can hold grudges. I can hold grudges for a very long time. It's not good, but it's true. And I've been realizing lately, like, okay, let me break it down and see why I'm mad. Mm-hmm. My mom, is very spiritual now. She just found this something that made her happy inside. And so I like to watch stuff with her. And sometimes we watch the Gaia channel, and there's a psychologist on there that speaks about anger and different functions in the brain. And he said that you only stay mad for 2 minutes. And then after that, you're just making yourself still feel the same way. And so when I heard that, I was like, whoa, so I've been doing this to myself. And after that, I was like, okay, if I break this down and I talk about how I feel, I'm sure I'll feel better after. And it usually does work for me. Especially if I'm feeling a way about another person. But if it's just has to do with me, I do find it important for me to just vent and be vulnerable in the moment. Because a lot of times it's more so my ego that's holding me back. So yeah, I'd say conversation is usually the key.
Same. I talk usually, well, not usually, but recently it was to my therapist. And in therapy, I realized that I don't really talk to my friends when I'm feeling vulnerable or really, really like emotional as much as I probably should, because I don't really open up about things when I feel like weak and stuff. I have like self-care days where I'll like watch one of my favorite old movies, or I'll make myself a favorite food or something like that, and I like pamper myself. But talking is definitely more productive. I'm still trying to get to a place where I feel comfortable talking to people who are not paid to listen to me. Because I don't, with her, it's like an hour once a week. I don't have to see her for the rest of the week. So I could be like, yeah, I cried and broke down in front of you, and, felt like my life was falling apart for an hour. But then after that, I'm good. I don't really have to deal with it. With my friend, they're going to remember that tomorrow. So, like, I don't want like, I call you crying and screaming about, like, how sad I am. You're going to be like, but what happened? Like, why? Give me some follow-up.
Yeah.
I like that. So.
Understood.
I listen to music. I'm not gonna hold you. It's been a lot harder with everything that's going on, because the music that I'm listening to is reflecting what's going on. And like, I hate Donald Trump.
We're not doing this, Jamal.
And I try so hard to escape him, but like, he's coming up in my music more and more. Like, when I try to listen to new music, I'm like, damn, Donald Trump is coming up. Like, it's harder now. Like, my escape is kind of talking about some of the stuff I'm trying to run from. So it's kind of, music usually helps. I used to go to the movies all the time, but since that doesn't work, since it's closed, that was one of my escapes. Like, the movies and music. Like, going to the movie theaters. Like, I love going to the movie theaters by myself. I know some people need like people to go with them. I love being there by myself, eating my popcorn by myself, not having to share with nobody. Oh God, I love it. So, but since the movies is gone and music, I can always listen to old music, but sometimes there's just nothing. Like, at this point, there's nothing I can do. Like, sometimes I don't know why I'm feeling away, so I just like, let me go on a walk and see. And I be walking. I know people who see me, they be like, damn, why he look so angry? Like, because you just see my eyes, and I'm just walking like, so I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I can't do anything. I just got to sit in my feelings, and hopefully nobody say nothing to me. But music is my thing. I need music.
Yeah, music for me, being alone. I like my solitude.
Too much.
Food. I'm an emotional eater.
Are you a Taurus?
I'm an Aries.
Oh, you're close, kind of.
Close, yeah. Close. But
Aries?
Yeah, I'm an Aries. The stubborn one.
Yeah, I know. Most of the Aries I know are pretty stubborn.
Yeah.
Assholes.
Working on it. But Yeah, music and food for me in my solitudes. How I usually deal with it. But it's hard now when everyone's in the house. We can't leave and go nowhere.
Yeah.
But yeah. 2020 is
like sometimes I feel like now I just be frustrated because I gotta be in the house. So it don't be like there's nobody that did anything to me. I'm like, I'm frustrated and I'm mentally down because I'm stuck in this house, this little ass apartment we in. I'm like, I can't go nowhere. I literally can't go nowhere. And there'll be days Aisha's at work, right? So I'll be like, all right, I cleaned the house. What am I about to do now? I'd be like, I can't go nowhere. I can't keep going to these record stores. I done spent too much money. So I'm like, what am I about to do? You know, I'd be like applying to jobs, like, damn, you know, next, what's next? Like, I get up early.
Oh yeah, so you be up all day.
I come home and the house is rearranged, and he'll be like, I had 3 new ideas.
Look right here, this little book, I fill it up. Like,
that's good. See, that's what I love about 2020. I know you guys keep saying 2020 has been rough, but I love it. I've loved it. Like so many. This has been the year for mental health, period, because we've had a time to sit back and reflect. It's hard to sit down and just be in the space of you. Like when you're just in the space of you have to think about everything, and that's a lot of the times what we do is we distract our thoughts by doing so many things. And I feel like that's why this year has been so needed. It's been needed for all of us, because even with this little bit of time, we've become more united as a people too. Like I don't think that I've seen that this many Black people together in Stockton, let alone, I don't know how it's been out there, but we've been coming together. We've been trying to find solutions. They may not work, but at least we've been trying. You know, we've been having a lot of people try to create their own businesses. Look, you guys got your podcast. You could still do that, you know, in the space of your own home, which is great. I don't know. I love it. I needed it. I think that's what it was for me. Yeah.
I would say 2020, like there's been good things that came from 2020.
Oh yeah, for sure. This is always
the thing is, like the year started out, at least I'm gonna speak for me. Personally, for me, it started out wrong. Like January, we had a death in the family.
Right.
And then we had Kobe die, which is basically like, man, Kobe for me was like, that was like, I care more about Kobe than I cared about some people I've known my whole life. I was gonna say names, so clap for myself for not doing that. But like, so when Kobe died, I was like, okay. Then shit just kept happening. I was like, all right. You just kept seeing death. And I was like, it was like the people that like I cared for or entertainers that I followed. And I was like, damn, why does this stuff keep happening? Because I know a lot of people personally who passed away this year, or people who are like my friends' family, they passed away this year. It was just a lot at a
There
point.
was a lot of deaths. Yeah.
From like January to like pre-shutdown. From January to like beginning March, I knew of like 8 people who were like dead. And I was like, oh, that's something I wasn't expecting. And then like this whole COVID shit, which was here in the Bay Area way before they wanted to act like it was.
Yeah, it's been around for a minute.
Because it was here because especially at my job, we were talking about it way before. But so everything, all the tragedy and all that stuff, it just sucks. Like the Breonna Taylor stuff, and I don't want to go through all 20,000 names, but like that stuff isn't new. It's just like when Breonna Taylor, when that case was, when we knew the result that was going to happen, and then when we found out, it kind of like drained me because I was like expecting it to go bad, but I was hoping it didn't. And then when you find out it's a Black man who's behind putting her or letting her cops, her killers free, that's even worse. You know, like that stuff drains you. So 2020, like there's great things. Like I've talked to people who I haven't talked to since high school. You know, I started this podcast with my sister. I'm starting to like just be like, all right, I got to do something that I actually want to do, you know, invest in myself. So that stuff is great. But it's just been too much tragedy for me to be like, this has been the best year. Like my Lakers just won the championship. Like I was happy forever, you know, but like,
maybe I should just say for me mentally for me, because like social media, like when we was talking about social media, it was very hard for me to be on social media at that time. I felt like I had to be at every single protest there ever was put on out here. I felt like there were so many things that I wasn't doing. It was hard just hearing about it and seeing it and just having this constant thought. Yeah, it's extremely hard. So yeah, that was definitely difficult. It still is. But I think sometimes, and I don't even want to justify anything. I just feel like sometimes for me, I have to see things from a different scope in order for me to understand what I'm supposed to be doing, you know, because before all of this stuff was happening, I won't say that I wasn't invested in our people and what's going on, but my eyes are wide open now. Like I'm definitely paying attention now. I'm definitely going to play my part. So yeah, I won't say it was spectacular, but for me mentally, I feel like I'm in a different space.
I get it. I get like like my situation isn't a normal situation. Like people don't know, or like their friends, family, like they don't know of that many people who passed away this year.
Yeah.
But I also had like, I don't know, I was just dealing with too much. I was just our whole living situation, who I don't want to get into, but like there's a lot that's happened that's made it like, man, this year could just go, you know.
It's just been a long year.
Yeah.
It doesn't even feel that long though. It feels like everything's been going so fast. But
it feels very long.
It can end. It can end. You know, I don't even want to be outside the day after the election. Like I don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah, I will be in my house. I will be in my house. I will be here.
Yeah, I don't want to even get anything delivered here. Like I don't want anything happening. Like, I know it's gonna be, granted, it's kind of, the Bay Area is not gonna, or at least where we live, is not gonna be crazy. But people have been a little bit more bold than they usually are, especially with me. And I just be like, oh, okay. So I know the day after, you know, it's gonna be bad. Like by us, I don't know if I told you this, Aysha, because I go on my walks and it depends on the time I get up and like get water and all that stuff. But somebody had a Black Lives Matter sign outside of their house, and then somebody must have been really bold. They wrote in chalk all on their driveway, "All lives matters, not just the black ones." And I'm just sitting there like, oh, it's getting a little bold in this neighborhood. Because when I first moved here, it wasn't like that.
I mean, to be fair, we definitely live right next to a college campus, a very white college. I'm not surprised at all by that. There's like definitely houses full of frat boys right up the street.
Them frat boys be like, I got invited a couple times. They was like, you trying to, come on. And I was just like, nah.
Oh yeah, they like the cool black friend.
I mean, I am cool as shit. Thank you, actually.
Okay, let me just end it on one more question. So yeah. You're barking.
All right, hold up. All right, you're gonna have to go. Them dogs is going crazy. Who got dogs?
Whole neighborhood.
Dogs over there.
Damn.
I'm gonna make a beat to it in a minute.
Right.
It's because there's a dog walking by.
Okay.
He needs to get up, sir. Speed it up. All right. So, what are some stigmas about mental health, and how do you think we can like clear them, I guess, or like get rid of them. Not we as in us.
I was say that's crazy.
We as in just a whole.
Go ahead, Jones.
Okay. Some stigmas about mental health. I don't know. I have no idea. That's a very loaded question.
All right, so I'll just. So you're not weak if you have issues. That doesn't make you weak. I know it's a common thing that people say you're weak and stuff like that. You're not weak. You're actually really strong to admit that you have a problem, something's wrong, and then you go seek help. People who sit in their problems, I wouldn't say they're weak either, but I would say like if they're making fun of you, then like they're clowns. Like you're not weak for admitting you have a problem. Every human being on this earth has a problem. Even the rich people have a problem. They got some good problems, but they have problems. That's one stigma. Go ahead, Angie. You got any? Since you asked this wild ass question.
I think some stigmas are that, especially for depression, people think depression is only sad, and I would just like to point out that it is a array of things, and I just want more people to educate themselves on the issue, because you'd be surprised how many people around you are depressed, even if it's low depression.
No.
I just think there's just a lot of, and to get rid of the crazy word, having a mental issue you have a mental health problem. It shouldn't make you a crazy person. And one last one, people with mental health issues aren't a danger to society, like schizophrenia, bipolar depression. Yeah, those are just a few of the ones that I'd like to point out.
This might be a little off, but I feel like in my head it makes sense. The example I gave earlier about when I was in school and they thought I had ADHD or whatever. I think that a lot of times kids just have a lot of energy. Mm-hmm. You know, I think sometimes people just, I don't even know if it's so much of us, but I feel like a lot of people try to label mental health issues on a lot of kids and adults to push medication. I'm anti-medication, but I feel like sometimes people need it, you know? So it's not that I'm totally against it, but I do think that sometimes, I'll just say Black kids are silenced because of their enthusiasm, or sometimes they may be angry, and sometimes it's not even a mental health thing. They're just feeling their emotions. So I feel like that's a big stigma, is trying to label people because of their natural being, you know? But I would say too, I also wanted to say that a lot of Black men, I'm not a Black man, of course, but I feel like a lot of Black men, I know a lot that joke around a lot, you know, they do a lot of the capping, talking about each other and stuff. And that could be a form of depression and things like that. It's a coping mechanism. Was not trying to come out. You know, to make themselves feel good inside. And the anger part, I feel like a lot of people just need to sit down and pay attention and talk. But as far as other stigmas, I can't really think of too many more. That was just something I wanted to bring up. But yeah,
I want to say on the whole diagnosing kids with ADHD and all that stuff. They were doing that to Black kids. It's always, I don't know if I'm going off track. We're going to have to like slice this episode so much because I'm going off track like a million times, but I don't care. I've been in this house and it's just been me and Aysha, so I gotta talk to other people. But they diagnose black kids who are like hyper all the time, and they don't do it to white kids. And like even kids are always gonna be hyper. That's what they do. Like when I worked at the Boys and Girls Club, these kids would be wild, and they'd be like, "What's wrong with these kids?" I'm like, "They're kids. They're literally in class all day. Right. So when they get out of class, they want to jump around and do stuff. Like who don't want to do that? Like when I see people after work, I be hyped. So I'm just like a kid. Like so I don't get why people do that. I mean, I get it. Like why they want to get these kids all medicine and get them all. Like I'm anti-medicine a little bit too much. So as Aysha knows, but yeah, they diagnose these kids wrong all the time, and that stays with them because it's in their records, and then goes with them as they go through school and all that bullshit. So they basically fucking up these kids' life.
Yeah,
they try to do that to. They try to. I don't know if I should say this, but they did this to my brother Taurus. They try to say like, oh, he has issues and he has all this. He got a one whooping. He was good. So clearly it wasn't that, you know. They say that people got issues with stuff and like that, but kids are just gonna like I'm gonna talk in the class. I'm gonna say what I want. But the day that my mom and dad came to the school, guess what? I was the most behaved. But every other day I had energy. There was nothing wrong with me. I just didn't want to do the stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes just that simple.
Yeah. I mean, I think that part of it is that with some schools, well, with a lot of schools, there's lack of funding to have specialized teachers who can actually craft a lesson plan for each individual child. I also think that nowadays it's more common for children to have attention problems because of the internet and social media and all these different things that we have at our fingertips. It's affected our brains in like 2 generations, I think. So it's not that hard to believe that kids now have like much shorter attention spans. I don't think that means that there's something wrong with them. I think that just means that education needs to evolve, and education isn't keeping up at the same pace as humans' brains evolving. But yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think that the less we stigmatize mental health, the more accurately we can diagnose people, because if, say, you are diagnosed incorrectly or whatever, you know, if we have a wide pool to draw from of what ADHD looks like, it's more likely that you're not going to be incorrectly diagnosed with it if we have more of an example. But because it's such a slim idea of what it is, you might happen to fit that one characteristic and now suddenly you have ADHD, but that's only because they're studying a small margin of people. So hopefully in time, as mental health becomes something that's important, you know, my school that I work at right now, or not, I don't work at the school, but I work with the kids who go to the school, and they have like wellness Wednesdays where they have to take a mental health day basically in the middle of a week and they have like assignments that are meant to help them like think but decompress and things like that. And so I hopefully, as you know, as it evolves and grows and changes, it'll keep up with mental health and it'll help destigmatize it and have the next generation growing up knowing more and being more emotionally intelligent than we've ever seen. So.
I think health is a big factor as well. I think we have to become healthy, and some of those areas will be completed with what we put in our body. I think that's very important for us as a people, especially because we have a lot of things that we do as Black people that are not healthy, and it goes against our body, and we have reactions to it. And so I think that once we're able to figure out what we need to do within, get ourselves healthy inside, we'll know exactly what's going on the outside and in here. So, yeah.
With that being said, Before I wrap it up, do you guys want to promote anything, shout anything out? Now's the time to do it.
I have nothing. Go ahead.
Yes, you do. You better stop it, photographer.
No.
You need to bring that back.
Aysha has the Jones Morris Photography. If you out here in the Bay Area and you need somebody to shoot you, holla at her, slide in them DMs. You can slide in the Harris Show DM and I'll get back to her because I live with her. She has the Amazon Hour. You know, she's trying to get guests. So, you know, holla at her.
Ooh.
What else you got?
Don't be humble, Aysha.
It's right. Oh yeah, I haven't done a photo shoot in over a year, and I haven't released an episode of the Amazon Hour because I haven't fleshed out what I wanted. I mean, I guess it's coming.
Coming soon.
Good girl. Well, I definitely do. I used to have a podcast. You guys can still subscribe to that on YouTube. It's my name, CELESTERLING on YouTube. And I have different videos on there, mostly my podcast. But I have a new venture, which I feel is very close to my heart. Like I was talking about with health and wellness, healthy is wealthy. So if you guys are interested in sea moss, smoothies, teas, juices, shots, ginger shots, I have all of that. I'm starting to ship things as well. So if you guys are interested in that, you can. I'm trying. My name is the same on Instagram, so it's my name combined. So yeah. Thank you guys so much too. I love this. I'm very proud of everything you guys are doing.
Thank you for being on here and tolerating us.
Oh, I love it. Thank you.
I told that a lot. I cuss so much. I don't think I cussed that much this episode, but
I didn't really hear it.
All right, Angie, go ahead and end it.
All right, thank y'all for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell your mama, tell your daddy. And we'll be back with more episodes. Be on the lookout for more to come. Peace.